What if the people who clap for you are secretly hoping you fall? What if their silence in your success is louder than their words in your struggle? Not every smile is sincere. Some are stretched thin, just enough to hide resentment. Now pause for a second. Think of someone in your life who's been acting a little off. They're not openly hostile. They still talk to you. They still laugh with you. But something doesn't feel quite right. That's because resentment doesn't always show its face. Sometimes it hides in politeness. Sometimes it hides in smiles. Sometimes it hides in people who used to cheer for you, but suddenly stopped. This isn't about paranoia. This is about awareness. Today, we'll break down 6 subtle signs someone secretly resents you and how to stay grounded, calm, and unshaken like a Stoic, even when their energy tries to shake yours. Let's begin. Sign 1. Lack of genuine support. They say a true friend claps when you win, but someone who secretly resents you, they'll stay silent, or worse, pretend to cheer while quietly hoping it falls apart. Watch their energy. When you share good news, do they light up with real joy? Or do their eyes shift? Their smile fade too fast? Do they change the subject as if your success is inconvenient? Resentment doesn't always sound like insult. Sometimes it sounds like forced politeness, a dry nice with no warmth, a congrats that never comes. Because when someone secretly resents you, your growth threatens their comfort. Your progress reminds them of where they're stuck. And so, rather than face their own stagnation, they'll project discomfort onto your shine. Stoics teach us not to rely on external applause. But it's still wise to observe who's genuinely in your corner and who claps with clenched fists. Sign 2. Passive, aggressive comments. Direct anger is obvious. You see it. You feel it. You can defend against it. But passive-aggressive resentment? It's like invisible smoke slowly filling a room, harder to spot, harder to fight. Someone who secretly resents you rarely confronts you directly. Instead, they slip their bitterness into tiny comments, sarcastic jokes, or backhanded advice. At first, you might brush it off. Oh, they're just teasing. They didn't really mean that. But over time, these tiny stings accumulate. Notice the patterns. Do they often disguise insults as humor? Do they offer jokes that cut a little too deep? Do they make helpful suggestions that feel more like subtle put-downs? A true Stoic watches actions, not just words. When someone uses passive-aggressiveness consistently, they are revealing a truth their conscious mind tries to hide. They feel resentment they're too afraid or too proud to admit openly. Marcus Aurelius taught, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." When you recognize passive-aggressiveness, don't engage. Don't mirror it. Don't explain yourself endlessly. Don't fight sarcasm with sarcasm. Simply observe it. Understand it for what it is. A reflection of their internal war, not yours. Maintain your inner calm. Let their hidden storms pass you like distant thunder. Sign 3. Withholding praise. Sometimes, silence is louder than criticism, especially when that silence comes right after your victories. When someone secretly resents you, they won't necessarily attack you. No, that would be too obvious. Instead, they'll withhold something far more telling. Genuine praise. Pay attention. When you achieve something meaningful, do they congratulate you sincerely? Or do they fall into an awkward silence, change the topic quickly, or offer only vague, detached comments like, "Oh, that's interesting. Good for you, I guess." Resentment isn't always a firestorm. Sometimes it's a cold absence, the space where warmth should have been. A Stoic sees clearly that external validation is a luxury, not a necessity. You do not live for applause. You do not hinge your worth on acknowledgement. Your achievements are complete by themselves, whether praised or ignored. Yet observing the absence of praise tells you something important. It reveals where loyalty ends, and quiet envy begins. Withholding praise isn't just forgetfulness. It's a silent protest, a refusal to recognize your growth because doing so would confront them with their own stagnation. Remember, the people who cannot celebrate your rise are often the ones most threatened by it. Stay calm, stay observant, and most of all, stay indifferent to the silence of small minds. Your path is yours alone. Sign 4. Backhanded compliments. True compliments lift you. They leave no doubt. They're simple, direct, and warm. But when someone secretly resents you, their praise comes with sharp edges. You'll hear compliments that seem sweet at first, until you catch the subtle sting hidden inside. "You're smarter than you look." "Wow, I didn't expect you to pull that off." "Must be nice to get lucky like that." Backhanded compliments are resentment in disguise. They're a passive way to cut you down while pretending to build you up. It's a clever tactic. If you react, they can say, "Relax. It was just a joke. You're too sensitive." But deep down, you know the truth. The compliment wasn't clean. It came dipped in bitterness. The Stoics teach us to observe intentions, not just words. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you have the ability to understand someone's motives, you cannot be harmed by their insults, even those dressed as praise." Backhanded compliments reveal a mind that's struggling internally, caught between admiration and envy, torn between wanting to celebrate you and wishing you would fail. When you hear one, don't fight it. Don't argue it. Don't let it hook your emotions. Simply smile, a real smile. Not for them, but for yourself. Smile because their bitterness has no weight unless you pick it up. Smile because their struggle is theirs to carry, not yours. Smile because you are beyond their reach. And then, keep walking. Sign 5. Silent treatment. Words can wound, but sometimes silence cuts deeper. When someone secretly resents you, they often won't start a fight. They won't launch an obvious attack. Instead, they'll retreat into silence, not a peaceful silence, but a weaponized one. The silent treatment isn't about needing space. It's about control. It's a subtle way to punish you without ever saying a word. You'll notice it in the way conversations suddenly die when you walk into the room. The sudden coldness in the air. The way they forget to include you. The way their eyes glaze over when you speak as if you're invisible. Silent resentment simmers beneath the surface. It denies you acknowledgement. It denies you basic respect. And it's not random. It's intentional. A Stoic recognizes this without anger. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been." Their silence says more about their weakness than your worth. When you're met with coldness, don't chase their warmth. When you're ignored, don't demand attention. When you're met with silence, Become even more silent within, but not from hurt, from strength. Let your silence be different. Let your silence be serene, not spiteful. There is nothing more powerful than someone who does not flinch in the face of being ignored. Because the truth is simple. They can freeze you out, but they cannot dim your fire unless you let them. Sign 6. Celebrating your failures. The loudest proof of secret resentment isn't found when you succeed. It's found when you stumble and they smile. Not outwardly, of course. They're too cautious for that. But if you look closely, you'll notice their relief, their subtle smirk, their sudden reappearance, eager to check in. When someone secretly resents you, your failures become their quiet celebrations. They may offer hollow sympathy. That must be so hard for you. Maybe it just wasn't meant to be. But behind the words, there's an unmistakable energy. The satisfaction of seeing you brought back down to a level they can tolerate. Because when you shine, you remind them of their own stagnation. When you rise, you challenge their comfort. But when you fall, you validate their bitterness. You ease their insecurity. A Stoic recognizes this dynamic and refuses to play into it. Marcus Aurelius taught, reject your sense of injury, and the injury itself disappears. Your failures are part of your path. Not shameful, not disgraceful. Just stepping stones, like every failure of every great mind before you. Those who quietly rejoice at your setbacks are chained to their smallness. You are not. When you fall, fall with dignity. Rise with calm certainty. Do not explain. Do not justify. Do not seek to correct their silent judgments. Because your journey isn't about proving anyone wrong. It's about proving yourself right in silence, in strength, and in time. And when you rise again, as you inevitably will, rise so firmly, so calmly, so unapologetically, that their resentment shrinks into the nothingness it always was. How a Stoic faces hidden resentment. You cannot control who resents you. You cannot control who celebrates you. You cannot control how others feel about your success, your failure, or your existence. But you can control something far greater, your own reaction. The Stoics teach that the external world, people's emotions, their opinions, their silent judgments, is beyond your command. It is noise. It is weather. It comes and goes. What matters is the citadel you build within. When you recognize resentment, silent or spoken, you must resist two powerful urges: the urge to confront and the urge to conform. You don't have to call them out. You don't have to shrink yourself to make them comfortable. You don't have to trade your fire for their approval. You simply remain unshaken, unbothered, unbroken. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Your light will unsettle those trapped in their own shadows. That's not your burden to fix. Your growth will irritate those anchored in comfort. That's not your weight to carry. Your success will highlight others' stagnation. That is not your shame to absorb. Walk your path quietly. Succeed silently. Rise steadily. Smile at the resentment. Bless it with your indifference. And move forward untouched, undiminished, and undeniably alive. Because at the end of the day, you don't owe the resentful your rage. You owe yourself your peace. And that is the most Stoic victory of all. You've seen the silent signs. You've felt the quiet storms. Now you know. Resentment doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it smiles. But a Stoic does not react to whispers. A Stoic does not flinch at shadows. You stay rooted. You stay focused. You stay at peace. If you found strength in today's reflections, imagine how much stronger you'll become when you master the art of walking away silently from those who no longer serve your growth. In the next video, we'll explore how to walk away silently and powerfully, like a true Stoic. It's not about anger. It's not about revenge. It's about reclaiming your inner power with absolute calm. So if you're ready to rise even higher, stay tuned. Subscribe to Live Stoic now and walk your path with unshakable strength. Until next time, stay calm, stay strong, and stay stoic.